Hi, I'm Ryan Groudon, and this is my second novel in the UK, Wolf by Wolf. It is an alternate history set in 1956 in a world where the Axis powers won World War II. And every year there's a cross-continental motorcycle race from Berlin to Tokyo, and there's a girl who has to win this race in order to assassinate Hitler. Once upon a different time, there was a girl who lived in a kingdom of death. Wolves howled up her arm, a whole pack of them, made of tattoo ink and pain, memory and loss. It was the only thing about her that ever stayed the same. Her story begins on a train. The numbers, autumn, 1944. There were 5,000 souls stuffed into the train cars, thick and deep like cattle. The train groaned and bent under their weight, weary from all its many trips. 5,000 times 5,000, again and again, so many, so many. No room to sit, no air to breathe, no food to eat. Yael leaned on her mother and strangers alike until her knees ached, and long, long after. She choked in the smell of waste and took gulps of the needle-cold buckets of water that were shoved through the door by screaming guards. Far below the tracks whispered her name, a slow, shuddering groan, over and over. Yael, Yael, Yael. You won't have to keep standing much longer, we're almost there, Yael's mother kept saying, as she smoothed her daughter's hair, a small comfort that became everything. But almost there kept stretching, on and on. One day rolled into two, into three, endless hours of swaying kilometers and slats of sunlight that cut like knives through the car's shoddy planks and across the passengers' grey faces. Yael huddled against her mother's taffeta silk skirt and tried not to listen to the crying, sobbed so loud her name almost drowned in them. But no matter how loud the sadness got, she could still hear the whisper, Yael, Yael, Yael. Constant, steady, always, a secret under everything. 3 days of this. Yael, Yael, squeal! Stop. Nothing. And then the doors opened. Get out, hurry! A man, bald, thin, dressed in clothes like pajamas, yelled and kept yelling. Even after they started spilling out of the train car, he yelled and yelled in a way that made Yael shrink close against her mother's wool coat. Hurry, hurry! All around was darkness and glare, night and spotlights. The sharp, cold air was shattered by the screams of guards, their snarling dogs, and snapping whips. Men on one side, women on the other. Push, push, jostle, push, screams. There was a sea of wool and shuffling. Everyone seemed lost, moving and pushing and crying and not knowing. Yael's fingers clenched the edge of her mother's coat, so tight they could have been seams of their own. Hurry, hurry, move! An iron voice inside Yael fought and pushed and cried. Don't get washed away. They were all flowing in one direction, away from whiplash and dog fangs, toward a man who stood on an overturned apple crate, looking out across the platform's dark milling crowd. A floodlight bathed him. The pure white fabric of his lab coat glowed in the shocking bright, and his arms were stretched wide, like wings. He looked like an angel. Every face that passed he measured and judged, male and female, old and young. The man in the glowing lab coat plucked and sifted and pointed them into lines. Too small, too ill, too weak, too short, too old. He barked out characteristics like ingredients to some twisted recipe, sweeping their offenders away with a wave of his hand. Those he approved of received a passing nod. When he first saw Yael, he neither barked nor nodded. He squinted at first, eyes serpent-sharp behind his glasses. Yael squinted back. There was a sharpness in her eyes, too, wetted with 3 days of fear and 2 bright lights. Her knees ached and wobbled, but she tried her best to stand straight. She did not want to be too small, too weak, too short. The man stepped down from the crate and walked toward Yael's mother, who shifted just so against her daughter as if to shield her. But there was no defense from this man's gaze. He saw all, staring at Yael and her mother as if they were suits that needed tailoring, taking measurements with his eyes, imagining what a few stitches and tucks might do. Yael stared back, taking measurements of her own. The man looked different up close, out of the light, with the shadows pressed in. They seemed extra dark on him, as if making up for that first glowing impression. He smelled different too. Clean, but not. Harsh, peeling scents Yael later learned to associate with bleach and blood, and uncareful scalpels. This man did not trade in heralds or blessings or miracles. He was an angel of a different kind. Yael's knees ached, ached, ached. Her eyes stung and watered. She kept standing, kept staring, clenching her mother's skirt with stubborn fingers. The man in the white coat glanced at the guard next to him, who was busy inscribing notes on a clipboard. "Reserve this girl for Experiment 85. It's long-term, so she should be housed in the inmate barracks. And make certain her hair is only cut, not shorn. I'll need strands for samples." "Yes, Dr. Geyer." The guard grabbed Yael's hand, snapped his pen across her skin in 2 quick strikes. X marks the survivor. "What about the mother?" The man shrugged. "She seems strong enough," is all he said before he walked back to the crate, back to the light that made him dazzle and glow.